Hello, Internet. It is I, Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today we're going to be talking about The Matrix Resurrections, the final Warner Brothers movie to get the day and date HBO Max experiment treatment. So, this is a rather special movie, at least to me, in the grand scheme of things. So, can't wait to talk about it. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros. This is the fourth Matrix movie. Do I even need to go that deep into the Matrix and how iconic it is? Well, I might as well do it. So, you're all about to get a history lesson here. So, first Matrix came out in 1999. Starred Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne, Carrie-Anne Moss, Hugo Weaving, and was directed and written by the Wachowskis. And when it came out in 1999, it blew people's minds. Like it changed cinema and sci-fi movies like, forever. Like it really did. I mean, it had some revolutionary effects. It introduced bullet time to everyone. Like it was like a groundbreaking film. And because it was such a groundbreaking film, it was a smash. It was a critical smash. It was a commercial smash. It was a home media smash. It was a undisputed success. Not only that, The Matrix, it was parodied in several big movies at the time. Like we're talking Scary Movie and Shrek. So it was a big deal back then. And because it was such a big deal, Warner Brothers and the Wachowskis said, "Hey everybody, you like the first Matrix so bad you want more Matrix? Well, we're going to give you more Matrix." Boom. Two sequels, 2003, Reloaded and Revolutions. And this is where things took a bad turn. Now, Reloaded, when it came out, it had the benefit of all the goodwill from the first movie, not to mention, a prime summer release date. So it was a big hit when it came out in 2003. I mean, it opened like, I think at the time it had the second biggest opening day ever. Only the first Spider-Man was bigger. And its opening weekend was the second biggest ever again behind the first Spider-Man. But for R-rated movies, like it had the biggest opening weekend for like 13 years, close to 13, until it was beaten by a Deadpool in 2016. And then worldwide, same thing. Biggest R-rated movie ever until Deadpool beat it in 2016. So the fact it was making this much money, for an R-rated movie, crazy. Awesome. Then Revolutions happened and all that goodwill vanished because Reloaded did not live up to people's expectations. I wouldn't say it's a terrible movie, but people expected a lot more and they didn't get what they really wanted. So, yeah, Revolutions was definitely hurt by Matrix Reloaded's lackluster reception. And it did a whole lot worse financially, but we'll get into that more when we get to the cons because it's important with the sequels. But overall, the Matrix series was a huge success. I mean, the numbers don't lie here. Like these are big numbers, and it was Warner Brothers, one of their biggest franchises outside of Harry Potter at the time. So yeah, like why wouldn't you bring a franchise like this back? And I know there were like rumors about this for like a long time. Like some suggested like a sequel, a reboot, but it wasn't until like 2019 where a new movie was actually announced and it was actually going to happen. So, yeah, Matrix Resurrections has the benefit of brand name recognition. So, pro number one, that's an easy pro right there. Pro number two, the main man of the hour, Keanu Reeves. This man has had a rather interesting career, to say the least. I mean, looking at Keanu, I mean, acting credits. There we go. I mean, started out really well. Of course, there were the Bill and Ted movies, and after that, there this big one was Speed. That was like his first big movie all by himself, for the most part. There was Sandra Bullock, but she was like a newcomer at the time. So it was that. And then it kind of just slowed down a lot after. Oh, there was Point Break too, so can't forget that. Then The Matrix came out, and it was just a bam, massive, massive smash. Then you got the sequels. Then you got. Then after that, things really took a bad turn. I mean, there was Constantine, which I heard wasn't very good. Day after the day the Earth stood still wasn't good. So things weren't going too great. 47 Ronin, huge disaster. But then a movie called John Wick came out, and everything changed. So yeah, John Wick, small movie, small movie, but it got a lot of love. It did well financially, and it grew its audience via, home media and streaming and all that. And so, because of all that goodwill transferred to John Wick Chapter 2, which made even more money. In fact, doubled the amount of the first movie. And that movie also got good reviews, so it wasn't like another Matrix Reloaded. And then that goodwill transferred to John Wick Chapter 3, which doubled that movie financially. It made and plus it entered the summer movie season, so they're serious when they enter that. And just seeing like the growth of John Wick shows you that people really care about Keanu Reeves, like definitely. And not to mention, the man's become a meme. I remember when Cyberpunk 2077, before it became the game we all know today, when it was like 2019, when it was like had a big old press conference like at E3 and Keanu showed up, that his appearance got memed a lot. I mean, people love Keanu. Like, it was a Keanu renaissance, definitely. And Matrix Resurrections is a part of that, technically. So, yeah, like if this movie came out like, I don't know, 10 years ago, I don't think people would be that remotely interested in it. But now it's coming out now with Keanu's renaissance, I mean, well, I guess it would have helped if it came out like a couple years earlier, but now, yeah, I mean, people are definitely interested in this. You can't deny that. So, yeah, I would consider that a pro. Keanu Reeves, easy pro. Like, dude's awesome. So that's pro number two. Pro number three. When it comes to like December movies we've gotten, this is probably the second biggest when it comes to anticipation. I don't need to tell you what number one is. I mean, if you all know, screw it. It's a certain Spooder Man. I think yeah, his name is Spooder Man. It's doing okay financial. I'm kidding. It's doing insane. But yeah, Matrix Resurrections was probably number two on everybody's list. Because I mean, looking at the trailers, like the first trailer for this movie got like 40-ish million views, which is quite good, especially for like a dormant franchise like this. So that shows you people are interested in this movie, or at least were interested. There was a second trailer very recently. It didn't get a lot of coverage, but hold on, let me check. I'm using my laptop for this off screen. Look at the trailer count for the official channel. It has 12 million views. That came out like 2 weeks ago. So, I mean, not amazing, but again, it barely got any coverage. So, it's better than nothing. But yeah, that first trailer has over 40 million views now. So, yeah. So, and plus, I've seen ads for this movie like constantly because it's Warner Brothers. They are notoriously aggressive with their ads online. So I've seen plenty of ads for this movie. So you can't say the marketing team aren't doing their jobs. So yeah, I would consider that a pro right there. The fact that it's probably number two on everybody's anticipated list for December, plus strongish ad campaign. So that's pro number three. Well, that's two pros in one, really. Pro number four has its release date. Granted, it's not like I said with the Kingsman. It's not the traditional Christmas movie at all, but but it has a bit of an event status attached to it. Not a big event status, but somewhat of an event status, more than most movies that have come out recently. So yeah, and plus, obviously Christmas Eve is gonna hurt, is gonna do some serious damage. But after that, things should be great. I mean, the week like from like the weekdays, like after that whole Christmas weekend, business is just gonna go up exponentially. The weekday numbers are going to be just mind-boggling when compared to like the usual times for movies. Because Christmas things get wild, very wild, say the least. So yeah, I think getting those Christmas legs, that Christmas dollar, and New Year dollar too, will help this movie. So yeah, I think the release date here and what and historically what happens with movies like this, I consider that a pro. So yeah, release date, Christmas, weekdays, all that pro, big old pro right there. Uh, I guess. Well, this is. I can't consider this a pro or a con. The reviews. I just found out the review score on Rotten Tomatoes. The percentage wise, it's like it's 69%, like close to 70. I think I'm gonna check it now. It's 71%, which is far from bad. I mean, it's way better than Revolutions. That was like in the 30s. And it's about the same as Reloaded, in my opinion. Yeah, at last I checked. So, I mean, it's nothing to like jump up and down about, but as I always said, it's always better to have good reviews than bad reviews. And this technically has goodish reviews, so it'll do more. I know they say more harm than good. I think this will do a little more good than harm. It'll make people a tad less skeptical. So I will consider that a well, I guess it leans a bit more towards pro than con. So, yeah. What else? I mean, direct competition isn't too bad. I mean, there's the King's Man, which is just DOA at this point. But and sure, there's Spider-Man, but besides Spider-Man, there's really nothing until I mean, well, there's the 355. But come on, does anyone give a crap about that movie? I don't think so. And after that, there's Scream. I would have said Operation Fortune if it stayed in January, but it didn't. I guess after that would be Morbius. So when it comes to direct competition, this movie doesn't have too much to deal with besides Spider-Man. So yeah, I consider that a relative pro. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Well, I guess I can mention the rest of the cast here. I mean, there's Neil Patrick Harris. There's Yaha Abdul Mateen. I believe I said that right. The second. I mean, he's a recognizable face. I mean, he was in Aquaman. He was in Candyman, and now he's in this as Morpheus, which is weird. I mean, you brought back Keanu, you brought back Carrie-Anne Moss, but no Lawrence Fishburne. Apparently, just from what I've heard, in the Matrix Online, which is an online game, obviously, they killed off Morpheus, and it was considered canon in that game. So, uh, I know it's weird, but he's still a recognizable face. So, yeah. Okay, cons. There's several. I guess the biggest con is it's going to be in the shadow of Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is making insane money right now. I mean, this is the Monday number for Spider-Man, 37 million. Most movies would kill to have that for their opening weekend. This movie did it in a on a weekday. Not even not even like on a Friday or Saturday or Sunday, on Monday. That's that's some wild shit. And yeah, I don't know if the Matrix Resurrections can handle that, but it could try. I mean, Daddy's Home was able to survive and make some cash off of the Force Awakens monster success. Same goes for Sing with Rogue One, Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle compared to Last Jedi. Even Little Women did fine in comparison to like In the Shadow of Rise of Skywalker. So it's not impossible for this movie to do okay in the shadow of a much, 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 much bigger movie. So yeah, but again, that competition that with Spider-Man, that's just so steep and brutal and overwhelming that it could hurt it a little bit. But I think it will do much better than King's Man at least. because unlike King's Man, this actually has people are actually paying attention to this. So yeah, I consider that a con, Spider-Man and the monster success that it is. So that's con number one. Con number two. Well, it's the last time I get to talk about this. HBO Max experiment. They're a little, and funny enough, we're like nearly. This is almost like the 1 year anniversary of this whole experiment, so I might as well discuss it. So this will be the last time I'll talk about it. So, what the HBO Max experiment is, for those of you who are not in the know, last year when the pandemic was really taking a toll on the movies, uh, a lot of studios, particularly Warner Brothers, they made some questionable choices, like with The Witches from like Robert Zemeckis, a movie nobody remembers. That went from theatrical to stream to HBO Max, and then with Wonder Woman 1984, a movie that got delayed a bunch, they were like, "Let's put on HBO Max the same time it hits theaters," and that's what they did. And people were just like, okay, we'll accept that." But then, late November or early December, I forget, Warner Brothers dropped a bomb on everybody. They said all of their 2021 movies were going to get the same treatment as Wonder Woman 1984. So they're all going to be on HBO Max for 30 days, same day as theaters. Then once they leave HBO Max, they're going to be in theatrical for a little bit longer, and then they'll eventually pop on HBO Max again a couple months later. This announcement was what met with a lot of confusion, uncertainty, anger, a whole lot of anger, especially from Denis Villeneuve. From like directors and stars and production companies. They were just like, wait, what the hell are you doing? None of us signed up for this. So initially, it was a hot mess. Wonder Woman 1984 didn't do too great. And then the rest of their movies that have come out this year haven't done too great. There are only two that have done more than okay. Godzilla vs. Kong and Dune. In fact, Dune is their biggest movie of the year. That's only made like $106 million, which is great for Dune. But the grand scheme of things, that I think that just shows you just how bad it's been for Warner Brothers. I mean, let's just look at their schedule for this year. I believe I should be able to find it. Actually, I know what to do. Annual. Gotta scroll down. Here we go, Warner Brothers. Okay, here's the list. Complete form. Well, we can scratch off Wonder Woman because that was 2020. But yeah, Dune is number one. Then Godzilla vs. Kong. The Space Jam New Legacy, which tanked. The Conjuring The Devil Made Me Do It, which did fine. The Suicide Squad tanked. Tom and Jerry did fine. Mortal Kombat did okay-ish. In the Heights bombed. Little Things bombed. King Richard bombed. Malignant bombed. Cry Macho bombed. Many States of New York bombed. Those Who Wish Me Dead bombed. Judas and the Black Messiah bombed. And the big bomb of them all, Reminiscence, tanked. So I think you could see a pattern here. The majority of HBO Max movies this year have done terrible. Absolutely horrendous. So that doesn't bode well for Matrix, obviously. But I think this one has a bit more upside than the majority of those movies because, Matrix, it feels like it's the type of movie where you probably get more out of it watching it on a big screen rather than a small screen. I mean, I know there's the Omicron variant going around, so some people might be more accepting of watching it on a smaller screen, but I still think it's a similar situation of Dune or Godzilla vs. Kong where you get the most out of it on a big screen. So, but still, being an HBO Max experiment movie, not good. So that's a con right there. There's definitely been more bombs than hits with this strategy. So that's a con. Another con is the Matrix itself, to an extent. Yeah. So going back to the sequels, Reloaded had a lot of hype, didn't live up to the hype, but still made a lot of money. But unfortunately, that lackluster reception carried on to Revolutions, which came out later that year in November. Less than 6 months later, they released two Matrix movies back to back, same year, which isn't that. I mean, now we're used to it with like the MCU and whatnot. We're used to multiple franchise movies come out the same year, but back then, nobody was prepared for that. And yeah, Revolutions did way worse than Reloaded. And even the first Matrix only made 139 million domestic, half as much as Reloaded. That's terrible. And it made 427 million, the worst out of the three originals. So that's a very bad sign. And it ended on such a low note, financially, critically, in every way possible. It left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And for Matrix Resurrections, I don't know it'll be able to, significantly course correct after that. Because, well, sure, we know the critics score for this. We don't know the audience score. We don't know what audiences think about this yet. We will know tomorrow, but now it's kind of uncertain. Because I've heard things, some mixed things. I don't know if they lean more positive or negative, but it's a little iffy, a little divisive. I mean, it's not like Last Jedi divisive, but it's a little uncertain. But yeah, like the fact that Revolutions, I hate that they all have to. All these sequels start with RE, Reloaded, Revolutions, Resurrections, especially Revolutions and Resurrections. Like they sound too similar. Could you just call this the Matrix rebooted? I mean, that would be accurate. Like, and it would make sense within the franchise. So just call it that. That way I won't be confused. Anywho, yeah, of how Revolutions did. Yeah, this movie has a lot. It's got the win over a lot of people, and I don't know if it'll do that. So yeah, I consider that a con. How the original Matrix trilogy ended. So that's another con. Another con after this. I mean, I already said with The King's Man, this isn't usually the type of movie that comes out around this time. There aren't too many R-rated action movies come out around Christmas or even Thanksgiving or anywhere near this time. You usually see these around summertime, the early part of the year, not Christmas. But again, I don't know. Well, I think again the Kingsman's DOA, but Resurrections has a bit of a better chance here because there's a bit more hype surrounding it. So I don't know, but it's just a weird. I mean, again, in the past, R-rated action movies haven't done too great around Christmas. I mean, look at AVP Requiem. Look at, well, not even like R-rated, just action movies in general. AVP Requiem, Assassin's Creed. Um, what else? Darn it! I guess, well, Aquaman. That did more than fine. That was superhero. That was a bit easier to digest. But like, Bumblebee did okay-ish. So they did fine enough. After that, Point Break did terrible, but nobody wanted that movie. um, 47 Ronin, which also starred Keanu Reeves, that did pretty bad. Well, I guess not Matrix. Well, Sherlock Holmes 2 and Mission Impossible 4 came out around the same time in 2011. Both did fine. Tron Legacy, which can easily be comparable to this, that did pretty decent overall. So I mean, being an action movie isn't a total death sentence. It's just odd, really odd. So that's not even a con. That's more of a mixed bag. It's neither a pro or a con. It's like somewhere in the middle. But yeah, I can't think of anything else really with this movie. At least not initially. I already talked about the whole HBO Max part of it. Yeah, I think that's it. Well, I guess there's the Omicron variant, but as I already said, if it's not hurting Spider Man, why would it hurt this? Well, actually, it'll get hurt a little more because of streaming, not because of the variant, although that probably won't really help it too much. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of a non it factor at this point. So, yeah, so opening weekend. Ugh. So we gotta look at the Warner Brothers movies that have come out this year. The biggest opening has been Dune with 41 million. After that, There's Godzilla vs Kong with 32 million. Will this be on that same level? It's possible. Although Christmas Eve is going to hurt something fierce. It's going to do damage. But, you know, I don't know. It's impossible. Like, predicting HBO Max movies has been, like, the worst thing I've ever done because I'm almost always wrong by a lot. And it's just annoying as hell. So I'm just going to try to be realistic here. For the 3 day, we got to do 3 day and 5 day because again, like Kingsman and Sing 2, this opens on Wednesday. So 3 day weekend, I think it will be around 30-ish million. I think that's achievable. I don't think it's super likely, but it's achievable. But I'm gonna lowball a tad. Let's say 25 to 30 million 3 day. That's what I'm going with. And 5 day, I feel like it'll have a bit more of a juice behind it in comparison to the King's Man. So I'm gonna guess for Wednesday and Thursday combined. Uh, uh, darn. 45 million for the 40 to 45 million for the whole 5 day. I could be dead wrong, but that's what I'm going with at the moment. Again, we won't know anything until we get Wednesday numbers, or like even a hint of Wednesday numbers. We got some early overseas numbers, but they don't really tell us much. The only two markets, well, two big markets that opened in was Russia and Japan, and it did okay in both. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm just gonna go with 40 million for the 5 day weekend to lowball it. I think it'll reach that. Total, now we know HBO Max movies have been notoriously front loaded, some to the absolute extreme. This won't have that problem, or at least too much of that problem, because it's Christmas. We'll have those Christmas legs. So I'm gonna say 100 million or more. I think this has a chance of beating Dune to be the biggest Warner Brothers movie of the year. I think it can do it. I think it has the juice to do it. But I could be wrong. I could be dead wrong. I've been dead wrong many times when it comes to these movies. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But that's Matrix Resurrections. So that's done. Next up, Sing 2. Then after that, The Tender Bar, I guess. And then that'll be it for today. But then Thursday, I'm going to be coming back talking about the movies coming out on Christmas. American Underdog, Jennifer Jordan, and Licorice Pizza was expanding wide. And I'm doing those on Thursday because Friday is Christmas Eve and I don't feel like doing anything that day. So, yeah, I'm doing these Thursday. And then that's it for the rest of the year. You won't be seeing another prediction video from me until the 355, and that's January 7th. So, yeah, we're definitely ending on a bang with all these movies coming out at once. So, yeah. Anywho, yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out more videos like this? Got a playlist on the homepage, filled with all, you know, all the HBO Max experiment movies from even Wonder Woman 1984 and 2020. It's all the ones I did this year. It's a lot. I think the biggest one I've done was Mortal Kombat, and after that was Dune. So those two are probably two of the most notable movies I talked about. So if you want to watch those videos or any of the others, your Tom and Jerry, Conjuring 3, Space Jam 2, In the Heights, Malignant, Cry Macho, Masons of Newark, King Richard, uh, Reminiscence, The Suicide Squad, uh, Godzilla vs. Kong, Little Things, Judas and Black Messiah, Those Who Wish Me Dead. Want to watch any of those? Go right ahead. You are free to do that and laugh at how off I was on my predictions. So if you want to watch any of those, you can go right ahead. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. I think I only covered Matrix Resurrections a few times, maybe twice. Because this was supposed to come out like in May of 2021, same day as John Wick 4. We were robbed of the greatest showdown in history. because of COVID, and I'll never forgive COVID for that. But then it got delayed to like 2022, and then got pushed up to 2021 again. So yeah, I talked about it 2 times, but that was like in the earliest days of cancel. So if you want, and plus I didn't mention this, but the Kingsmen, I covered that way too many times, way more time than I ever wanted to. So you want, but anyway, for Matrix Resurrections, you want to watch any of those canceled episodes or any of the others? There's 97. You got more enough to choose from. That way you know where all these movies are going, when they're coming out, whether what date they're going to be premiering, whether it be in theaters or streaming. You can watch all those, have a good time. Now, then there's box office predictions, recaps where I go over box office results for any particular month. December recap will come out within the first week of the new year. Then I'm going to do a 2-part recap of 2021 where I cover the theatrical side of things and the streaming side of things, because movies like Matrix Resurrections have really blurred the line between streaming and theatrical, and it's the most frustrating thing in the world. But it'll be an interesting thing to talk about. So can't wait to discuss that. So look forward to those 3 recap videos. So, but if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I've done, particularly the ones from this year, that way you see how the year has evolved from where it started to where it is now. Want to watch any of those and go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.